one. So you have your board, let's have file, then just so and so on. CSS246, and today we're talking about the legality of private security companies. With this being said, let's also get it. But just before then, for those of us who are yet to subscribe to the channel, do also subscribe to the channel. For those of us who are yet to smash the like button, do also do that. And also use the comment section to say hi, good evening, hello. Let's know where you're streaming from. This is how you definitely mark for attendance. So do also do that right away. This being said, let's go straight into it. Okay, so we have CSS246, and according to the thumbnail, we are taking our bearing from, we are taking our bearing from the legality of private security company. Okay, so we have CSS246. I'll be talking about the legality of private security companies. Now, when we talk about the legality of private security companies, what are we talking about in essence? Now, what we're really talking about is what body or who is responsible for regulating, all right, the private security companies. Who is responsible? Just like we all know, every organization has their regulatory body. I think there are too much flashes on the board. I should reduce it a little bit. Okay, so now every of these companies have their regulatory body, and the private security companies are not exempted. Okay. Can we hear me? They are not exempted. I think the camera needs to be adjusted a bit. Okay. I think this is better. Oh, maybe I should just shoot this back a little bit. All right. I think this is better. Okay. The private security bodies are not exempted. Now, what we need to understand that in Nigeria, what we need to understand here is that in Nigeria, most private security companies are like any other corporations. Okay? They are like any other corporation. They have what we call conventional structures. All right? They are like any other corporation. Okay? In Nigeria, they are like any other corporation. They have what we call conventional corporate structures. They operate as legal entities, okay, and maintain registered office address or addresses. Okay, so basically, what we need to first understand that they are very much like every other business organizations. Okay, they are very much like every other business organization. They are not exempted when we talk about the categorizing of business organizations. So what are we talking about in essence? What we are saying here is that in the realm of security affairs, the states, claim the prerogative of creating and judging political legitimacy. Okay, so when we talk about private security bodies, the state is responsible. Okay, the state is solely responsible for managing. All right, the state is responsible for managing, all right, the private company private security companies. Okay, I think that should be private um, security companies, not PCS. Private security companies. We have private security companies. Okay, the state is responsible for managing them. Okay, so please note that. Now, we also have multinational companies. Multinational companies such as Shells and Chevron have contracted private securities firm in Nigeria. Okay, just like we have been talking about security, we said something in our last class. We said there are some security companies, all right, there are some companies that rather that they prefer to contract security, all right, personnel instead of having their own security. And a very good example of what we're just being told now, all right, multinational companies such as Shells and Chevron, they have contracted private security firms in Nigeria. Okay, let's take note of this abbreviation. We have SSR. SSR here simply means security sector reform. All right, security sector reform. SSR, security sector reform. Now, the cross, when we say cross, we're talking about the body. All right, the cross of private security, of the obligation of private security sector capacity, all right, to be legitimate actor on the national scene, thus lies in the relative capacity of the state. All right, this is just re-echoing what we talked about. Lies on what? The relatively capacity, all right, the relative capacity of the states to manage the use of what? Private companies and ensure that it is compatible with promotions of good governance, meaning that it is the responsibility of the state to ensure that private security companies, just like every other company, falls in line. Okay, private security companies, just like any other security company, falls in line. All right, falls in line in what sense? Respects good governance. All right, does the needful, and also observe the Constitution. So it is their responsibility. Now, the private security company is taken to refer to companies offering, all right, talking about the private security companies now, we are simply talking about, in essence, we are simply talking about companies, all right, offering defensive services intended mainly to protect individuals and properties. This we said before, all right, they are out there. Private security companies are companies offering defensive services. Okay, private security companies, they are out there to offer what we refer to as defensive. Okay, to offer what we refer to as defensive, offer defensive, okay, services, defensive services intended mainly to protect individuals and property. All right, to protect individuals and to protect properties. Okay, so we have that as that. Now, it might interest you to know that the private security services falls under two categories. Okay, these categories are the proprietary and corporate security, and we have the contract of private security firms. Okay, these categories whereby these private security companies falls under are the proprietary, all right, proprietary, all right, proprietary, okay, or corporate security or corporate security, or the contract of private security. We have a contract or private security. Now, what are we talking about here in essence? Now, the corporate security generally is referred to as, okay, the corporate security generally is referred to as the security department that exists within businesses or corporations. Okay. Exists within businesses slash corporations. Okay, exists within businesses slash corporations. Are we good? Exists within businesses and corporations. Now, we have the contract security firm, okay? The contract security firm, by contrast, sell their services to the public, including business, homeowners, and banks. Okay? Sell their services to the public. Okay? The likes of banks, likes of hospitals, likes of homeowners, and businesses. So we have that as that. So one thing you need to understand is that the private security is not a monolithic entity. When we say monolithic entity, we're talking about it is a company that is out there to make profit. It is not static. It is not rigid. All right. It can compromise just to make profit. And when I say compromise, not compromise negatively, compromise in the sense that they are out there to make profit, so they can take advantage of opportunities. All right. Render their services, take advantage of opportunities, and scale their brand. It is what it is. Okay. So we have that as that. Now let's take a step further. Now, there's something called Private Guard Companies Act. Okay, the Private Guard Companies Act. Now, Private Guard Company Act states that for the commencement of, now it states that no organization, all right, this Private Guard Companies Act states that no organization shall perform the service of watching, guarding, patrolling, or carrying of money for the purpose of providing protection against crime unless the organization concerned with the following. We have, it is registered as a company under, all right, the Companies Allied Matters Act. Let's take that. Now, that's the Private Guard Companies Act. Excuse me. Meaning that no company should be out there parading as a security company or a security providing service company unless such company is registered under CA companies, all right, that's CAMA. Registered under Companies Allied Matters Act. Okay, Companies and Allied Matters Act. First thing, Secondly, has applied for and has been granted a license by the minister. All right, licensed by who? Licensed by the minister, which is still under the state. Wholly owned by Nigerians in accordance with the schedule to Nigerian Entrepreneur Enterprises Promotion Act. Must be wholly, all right, owned by a native slash, when I say a native, not a foreigner, a Nigerian. Okay, so we have that as that. So that is, those are the three main points. Okay, so very quickly, there's a legal framework. Okay, there's a legal framework guiding the licensing of PSCS. That's private security companies. So what is the legal framework? Legal framework for private security companies. Okay, so very quickly, as you join the stream, do well to say hi, do well to say hello, do well to smash the like button, and let us know where you're streaming from. Mark the attendance. All right, you know, when we say mark the attendance, we are simply talking about you smashing the like button and saying hi or good evening. Okay, so now let's continue. We have currently the acting regulating, all right, the act regulating the licensing of private security companies, okay, in Nigeria is the Private Guard Companies Act. All right, Private Guard Companies Act. That is the body responsible for the licensing, okay, of private security companies. All right, now, and this act is under the law of federation of 19, all right, law of federation of 1986. All right, now what are these regulating bodies? Now, basically the act is divided into 4 sections. Okay, so this act is divided into 4 sections. We have 1, 2, 3, then 4. Now, the very first part is licensing of private guard companies. All right, so this act is responsible for licensing of private guard companies. So we have the part 1, all right, licensing of private guard companies. All right, then we have the part 2, control and administration, also responsible for controlling and administering the private company securities, private security companies, I mean to say. Now, also prohibit offenders and basically penalties for misconduct. All right, punishment for misconduct. All right, punishment for misconduct. And we have the part 4, supplementary and regulation and licensing of PSC, fall under the division of what we call, just a moment, Ministry of Interior. All right, the Ministry of Interior is responsible for the supplementary regulation and licensing of the private security companies. All right, so we have part 4, Ministry of, let's write this at 4, Ministry of Interior. Okay, so we have Ministry of Interior is responsible for that. So now let's continue. So now let's take so very quickly we have Organization of private security company. What does it take to organize private security companies? All right. Organization of private security companies. So very quickly, now, private security company, all right, or private security is different from public security in several significant ways. All right. The private security is provided to clients for a fee. All right. Private security, all right, provided to clients for a fee. Are we together? Provided to clients for a fee, and except in special circumstance, has its jurisdiction limited to property owned by clients. All right, except on circumstance, they do what? Have jurisdiction limited, all right, to the property owned by clients. Rather than services provided in the interest of the public, security is provided to protect the interest of the clients. Okay? Are we together? So now it says here that traditional legislation in Nigeria has recognized these differences and has not extended the same power, all right, of detention, arrest, search, and seizure to security service provided as the police. Now, what we need to understand here, the security services provide security services to clients on a fee, unlike the public security. Right? The public security is way different. All right, it is basically the opposite of this. All right, basically controlled and owned by the state. That is public. All right, then we can talk about the likes of the police and the armed forces. Are we together? So a lot of things are different between these two entities. All right, talking about the level of power these private security companies exert compared to the public security companies. All right. So now private security include measure takings by Are we together? Can we hear me? Okay, so private security companies includes measures taken by individuals, partnerships, and corporations designed to protect, all right, designed to protect their interest. Now, generally speaking, these measures includes the protection of properties. All right, so we have measures to what? Measures taken by individuals, all right, partnership, all right, partnerships and corporation. Okay, designed to what? To protect their interest. That's why I said earlier, they are profit oriented. Okay, and by speaking, these measures include the protection of property, all right, the protection of property, the protection of personnel, okay, and information, properties, personnel, and information. Okay, so let's note that protection of property, personnel, and information. Okay, Now, private security firm also operates independently of the politics of the host of company. All right. Private security companies, like I said, do not, right? They don't respond. They are not subjected to that company, all right, but they are subjected to their own company, which has given them the authority to go and protect a property or work in an organization. All right. So that's why we are being told here that they work independently, all right, of the politics of the host of company. Now, the organization, don't forget, we're talking about organizing these private security companies. So now, while talking about the organization of these private security companies, we also need to make mention of, please, if you're on the stream, do up, say good evening. Okay, somebody just said good evening, Mr. Kayode Fagbemi. Mr. Kayode Fagbemi, it's great to have you on board, although you came late. But nevertheless, we are here to smash the like button. Mr. Kayode, do want to smash the like button. And if you are on the stream and are here to mark attendance, how do you mark attendance? Smash the like button. Okay, it's like this under this stream. And also do also use the comment section to say hi, good evening, hello, so we can acknowledge your presence. So now there's something called organizational chart. Okay, organizational chart describe the command structure and responsibility of officers. Okay, organizational chart here, the chart describes, all right, the command structure, describes the what? Command structure. Okay, describe the command structure and responsibilities of officers and responsibilities of officers. Okay, responsibilities of officers of a limited service security firm. Please note that. All right, so we also have, okay, so we have that as that. There's also something called job grouping. All right, job grouping is also known as depart. All right, it's also known as departments. Okay, job grouping, meaning that this particular department is responsible for this. All right, this is the department responsible for logistics. This is the department responsible for afternoon shift. This is the department responsible for evening shift, and they will provide us personnel to run this shift. All right, job grouping. This department has been grouped with this responsibility and will be held accountable. Okay, now in general, department might be grouped as office. Okay, it might be grouped as, okay, we have exhausted our time. Okay, so but very quickly, let's note that the structural organization, all right, of security firm can be classified, all right, into 7 categories. Okay, 7 categories. So we're going to be taking our bearing from there in our next class. 7 categories, all right, of, just like I've been told here, structural organization of a security firm. All right, 7 categories of the structural organization of a security firm. We'll take it up from this in our next class. So thank you very much, everyone. I believe you'll be able to gain something in today's class. Please do also submit your to the appropriate quarters, and I look forward to seeing all the subsequent tutorials. For those of us who are yet to become a member of our private class, you are leaving a lot on the table. You don't want to miss out. A lot of resources will be given out to help you to enhance your studies, considering the fact that this semester it's going to be a lot of rush, all right, a lot of back and forth that on the website. So when everything is restored, it's going to be a rush, and you don't want to miss out anything. Do also reach out to us on our official website today, which is www.tutor.com, whereby you can get access to our WhatsApp, which is on the top right hand corner. You click on it, you take it directly to my DM, and it can be added into the class. Do also do that as soon as possible. I look forward to seeing you on subsequent tutorials. Bye for now.